The Wall Street Journal reported on October 7th, the Federal Reserve frets about commercial real estate. With banks slow to take losses, fears of a residential bust repeat. Michael Brennan, chairman and managing principal of Brennan Investment Group, formed in October. Are we about to see another collapse of commercial real estate?
Are we in for another wild ride in the capital markets?
Is Armageddon here?
Yeah, well, it's pretty close. I have to say, I'm normally an optimistic person, but I think the troubles are ahead of us, not behind us.
Michael Flynn, executive vice president with NAI Hiffman. Mr. Brennan sees death and destruction in our future. Do you see another crisis in commercial real estate? Is the other shoe about to drop?
I certainly take a less pessimistic view than Mike does. While we've certainly seen a great fall in values, as was indicated earlier by Bruce, what we are also seeing as we do a cross-section of our firm among the different food groups, be they office, industrial, and retail, the fourth quarter, frankly, we had our highest number of prospects on our prospect list going into 2010 than we had for the 9 months previous.
I think you have to break it down and look at the sectors of demand. About 7 to 9% are in the following industries each: construction, retail, leisure. I don't know who's feeling pretty positive about any of those. I think construction unemployment is at about 30% just in that sector.
But as you look at the capital markets, you really can't discuss what's going on here locally without having a framework of what is taking place on the global markets, what's taking place here in the United States, and then understanding how that translates into what is happening here in Chicago. What we're seeing, however, much more recently is what we refer to as a variable speed recovery. In other words, different parts of the globe are seeing the recovery happening at a different kind of pace. So in Asia in particular, we're starting to see a recovery. Their economies and the real estate markets starting to recover, followed by a number of the European markets, and then finally what we believe will be taking place here in the United States.
I wanted to ask Paul Fisher whether some of the government programs like TARP and TALF and the PPIP programs sponsored by the U.S. Treasury Department and the stimulus bill activities, whether those have had any real effect, or is it too early to tell?
That stabilizing has largely been successful. The second thing they were trying to do was encourage the increase in lending and encourage the improvement in underwriting at the banks and other regulated institutions. They really have not been successful in that.
You know, how are banks going to be able to reduce the percentage of their loan portfolio that consists of commercial real estate loans in this day and age?
Other than a combination of not originating new loans and trying to sell existing loans or existing REO properties, it's very difficult to come up with any practical solutions, but banks are doing a little bit of all of these things.
To go to Suzanne's question about what the surprise was that by November, even October, we were talking about the shape of the recovery. After that remarkable, awful feeling of free fall that we all went through in the fourth quarter of 2008 and the first half of 2009, almost miraculous that we're talking about when the job growth will begin again.
I was very surprised by the amount of liquidity that came into the market through probably the second half of the year. The first half of the year, we were in the market with a large debt offering, and it was a very tough offering to get done, but we did get it done. And basically about July 1 of last year, we started to see more and more life companies come in on basically a monthly basis, to the extent that toward the end of the year, I was getting calls that there was this company called AIG that was trying to make real estate loans. And I couldn't believe what I heard, but I heard it.